What's up guys, Sam Adams here, and as we inch ever closer to E3, rumors are definitely going to start surfacing on the internet concerning what the major game developers are going to be discussing at their respective E3 news events. You've got the Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo press conferences that are going to have rumors galore. Then you're going to have game developers and what games they'll be showing off, certain peripherals that might be shown off, things that are going to happen. Pretty much if there is anything that can be generally considered a gaming rumor, it's going to come about online sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks, depending on, when people want to release it. Some companies even use this to leak their gameplay early so people feel like they've already seen it, and then they can expound upon it at E3. But, today we're going to be talking about the price cuts that are rumored to be coming from Sony's end on the PlayStation side. So pretty much this little article right here, and you can read the full one down below, showed some screenshots or some pictures of a receipt from a giveaway. And if you've ever entered a giveaway, you know that in the fine print below on the contract that you sign or whatever kind of paper you get back, you can see what you're trying to win is valued at. You can see what you would normally have to pay to get that item. And so in this particular case, we see the PlayStation 4, PlayStation TV, and the PlayStation Vita, along with some other kind of $899 thing that doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that the PlayStation TV is valued at the normal $99. That's what it normally is now. And on certain days, you can even pick one up for as low as $50, which is a great deal considering that Sony has kind of made it a little bit more usable. Some games weren't playable on the PlayStation TV at launch, but for the most part, a lot of the titles are. I have a PlayStation TV, but I never really use it considering that pretty much everything that I need is within arm's reach of this little area right here. So I never really have any use for it, but I could definitely see where, like I said before, it can be useful for someone that's trying to get their child into gaming and doesn't want to put a lot of money into buying a PlayStation 4 or anything like that. The PlayStation TV is definitely useful for that kind of thing. But, so PS TV, standard $100 price point. Next up, PlayStation 4 is valued at $349.99, which of course is $50 cheaper than the price of $399 that we have right now. So that's not that substantial, but it could definitely tip the scales in Sony's favor as far as, enticing consumers to go with the PlayStation brand just because of prices. $50 is a lot of money for a middle school or high school kid trying to get a new generation console, and I think that combined with PlayStation's kind of better user interface, I just think that the user interface on the PlayStation 4 is way better than the Xbox One. That's just my opinion. I have both consoles, but each one has their benefits. But let's not get into a console war here. The fact of the matter is, PlayStation 4 looks like it's going to be $50 cheaper than the Xbox One, and it will definitely be interesting to see if Microsoft follows suit. But what's interesting is that this little puppy right here is valued at $89.99 on this giveaway receipt. And right now I believe it's $199 if I remember correctly. I was at Target and looked at one. It could be a little bit cheaper than that, but I believe it's $199. And I actually bought that one for $299 whenever it first came out. I got mine on day one. This is the 3G model, but I don't pay for the 3G. And the PlayStation Vita has had a very interesting and somewhat sad life cycle. So if you don't know anything about this particular handheld, it's got both front and rear touchpads. So the entirety of this thing is pretty much one giant button along with several other buttons. As you can see, it's got all of the things you would need on a DualShock 4, including dual analog sticks. And it feels really good in the hand. This is the first generation of the PlayStation Vita. There is a newer model which has slightly different buttons on it, but ultimately functions the same and has the same processing power, although a different kind of screen, but they pretty much look the same. They say this one has a little bit more color in it, but whatever, I'm just happy I have one. And this started off as a really good thing. It launched with a game called Uncharted Golden Abyss that actually made me play handhelds for 3 days straight just to get through that campaign. I was a huge fan of Golden Abyss. I really enjoyed that game. In fact, it's my second favorite Uncharted game of all time. I prefer Uncharted 3, then Golden Abyss, then Uncharted 2, then Uncharted 1. That just happens to be my preference. But what happened with the Vita is that whenever you release games like Uncharted Golden Abyss, Killzone Mercenary, and Unit 13 within the first couple of years of the game console's life cycle, then you're not going to have anything to entice people to buy it to see what the future holds. With the PlayStation 4, whenever they released, let's say Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Call of Duty Ghost, you couldn't really tell that much of a graphic difference. I mean, obviously you could a little bit, but it definitely showed potential for the future of what the console could really be pushed to do, and that's what we're seeing now as games are getting better and better. With the PlayStation Vita, they pretty much just put everything out there at once and showed people what it could do on day one, and then there isn't really much else it can do. So with that being said and taking that into consideration, the PlayStation Vita became pretty much a haven for indie games. Whenever I think of an indie game, the PlayStation Vita is the first thing to come to mind, mainly because of that front and rear touchpads. Developers love the fact that this is just a blank canvas. You can paint whatever controls you want. Some people even divide the back into 4 quadrants, so if I wanted to throw a frag grenade here, and I can just tap the top right part of the back of the PlayStation Vita and then throw a smoke grenade over here, then you can do that kind of thing without having to have these shoulder buttons per se. So that's what the PlayStation Vita does really well, and at a price point of $89, that would be absolutely incredible. That's what this thing is rumored to be dropping down to, but I can't see it actually doing that unless it's a very, very limited time. If for 1 month you could pick up a PlayStation Vita for $89.99, they would be sold out, because these things, they aren't light-powered machines. As compared to a 3DS, I would pick a PlayStation Vita any day just because it caters to the hardcore gamer more. And of course, hardcore games aren't meant to be on handheld. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. I have a 3DS, I have a PlayStation Vita. I use a 3DS for Pokemon on occasion. I rarely ever pick up my 3DS. And then on the PlayStation Vita, I haven't played this thing in a long time because I haven't really been into the indie side of things lately. I think the last thing I played on this was Ollie Ollie 2 Welcome to Ollywood, whenever it was on the PlayStation Plus promotions thing. But the PlayStation Vita is definitely an awesome handheld, and I think that it's going to be really interesting when the Sony press conference rolls around at E3 this year to see if this little bad boy actually gets a price drop down to $89.99. The rumors have also said that it might depend on what version of the handheld you're picking up. If you get the original one like this, it might be $89.99, and then the newer version of it might be like $150 or $169.99, but it is pretty much all but guaranteed now that the PlayStation Vita is going to get a price drop, because it's no mystery that Sony hasn't been doing that well on the sales side of things with the PlayStation Vita. It just hasn't lived up to the expectations that everyone else had set for it, and most definitely not the expectations that Sony had set for it. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the Vita is still an awesome little handheld and something that every gamer should at least have the opportunity to experience at some point in their gaming life. So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop me a like down below and comment what you think about those price drops. Do you think that Sony should drop the PS4 down even lower, maybe to even $300 or $250 to really blow the competition away? Is that even possible? Will you pick up a PlayStation Vita if they are priced at $89.99, or at what price point would you pick up a PlayStation Vita? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you are new to the channel, don't forget to head over and check out some of my other videos. I upload new stuff like 4 or 5 days a week, so there's generally always something new on the channel for you to check out whenever you come and drop by, see what's new. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace, and get ready for E3.